Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new trading week. Higher beta, riskier stocks, quote unquote, are moving higher today, including the one that I have about $100,000 invested in now in the trading community. That stock in particular is up over 10% today. That stock is called Resolve AI. I've made videos now about this company on the channel, and I do think this week's earnings on Thursday is going to be huge. Okay, there's been a lot of good news recently. We'll discuss that here in this video briefly, but I do want to share with you all of your broader market news today because there is a ton of it. So I'm going to give you an update on Resolve here in this video. Resolve, well, up about 11% at the time of recording this video, and it's going a lot higher. So check that link out down below in the description of this video. But again, we will discuss the broader markets as well. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And let's go ahead and get into today's episode. Okay, so Resolve AI was a SPAC. Over this weekend, they crossed the 1-year de-SPACing, threshold. So a board member, Stefan, was relieved of his duties. So now Resolve AI has they're basically like any other publicly traded company. They, nominate people to their board. They, executives can go out and buy stock again, right? Over the 12-month period after a de-SPAC, there's a lockup period. Insiders cannot buy or sell. They don't really have much governance in, the board of directors, so on and so forth. Well, that is now over. That's partially why the stock is moving higher today. Now, you also have this article from AI Invest that says the AI-driven retail revolution, Resolve AI's strategic path to dominance in generative commerce. It goes on to say that Resolve AI, a SPAC-merged AI commerce leader, processes $50 billion gross merchandise value with 16.5 million active users via its retail-specific large language model and brain suite tools. Strategic Google-Microsoft partnerships drive 50% plus revenue forecast by reselling AI tools through cloud ecosystems, accelerating enterprise adoption. Okay, it says here, retail Resolve AI's merger with Armada Acquisition Corp in August 2024 marked its entry into the public market with a pro forma enterprise value of $1.8 billion and a market capitalization of $2 billion. While its current stock price, $3.02 as of August 15th, reflects a market cap of $736 billion, this valuation appears strikingly low relative to the scale of its operations. The company has processed, again, $50 billion in gross merchandise value in 2025 alone, with 16.5 million monthly active users and 41.9 million customer devices running its technology. These metrics suggest a disconnect between its financials and its market potential. Okay, again, that's why we're invested in the company. Okay, they go on to say the Brain Suite, a proprietary edge. A lot of these things we already know about. The company is incredible. Conclusion here. It says the retail AI revolution is no longer a distant possibility, but an unfolding reality. Resolve AI's SPAC-driven public market debut, coupled with its strategic partnerships with proprietary technologies, places it at the vanguard of this shift. While risks remain, the company's ability to process $50 billion in GMV and its access to Google and Microsoft ecosystems suggest a compelling investment thesis. For those willing to navigate the volatility of a high-growth AI play, Resolve AI represents a unique opportunity to capitalize on the future of commerce. Okay, we love this company in the trading group. Okay, but since the 12-month de-SPAC is over with, seems like a lot of other people are starting to love Resolve as well. As we discussed in the prior video, there is a ton of 13F filings coming out in which pretty much all of them are insanely bullish. Morgan Stanley, Jane Street, Citadel, Barclays, Goldman, Susquehanna. I don't know if I'm saying that right. All of your major funds are taking massive stakes in this company. Now, they report earnings on Thursday, and I believe we are about to get a guidance raise. Okay, Citadel just bought 7% of the company in a private placement at $2.50. Virtually no premium to where it was trading at. This happened back in early August, mid-July or so. That's a big green flag for this Thursday's earnings report. I think Resolve is about to raise guidance, and this is going to be the earnings that really puts Resolve on the map, okay? Where I think the stock's going to be a $4, $5, $6 stock following earnings, okay, in the next couple of weeks. Like, Wall Street is really underappreciating this one, and that's why I'm so heavy in it, okay? I think it's a 6 to 20x potential in the next 1 to 3 years ish. Okay. And I think a lot of that momentum starts this earnings. Keep in mind the de-SPAC just ended over this weekend. So now they have, free reign, if you will, to operate as a normal company. And now Wall Street is piling in. They usually wait a year for SPACs to buy them at minimum. Okay. That is over. Look, the stock's up 11% today because of it. It was a major development. And now you're also going to start getting a lot more attention, again, even from retail investors, new articles, and honestly, I think it's long overdue, but hey, we'll take it at this point. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and get into your broader market news today. Now, Goldman Sachs says today they expect the Fed to cut rates 3 times this year. Goldman Sachs was only at 1 cut previously. I believe they were at 0 cuts not long ago. They say in September, October, and December, citing weakening U.S. job growth. Analysts note job gains have slowed to about 30,000 per month, well below the 80,000 needed for full employment, and future revisions are likely negative. They see risks beyond trade and immigration, with catch-up hiring fading and growth in most industries near 0. While unemployment is stable, Goldman warns even slight labor softening is worrisome. A larger 50 basis point cut is possible, but would require a sharper rise in unemployment, which that would not be good, right? If the Fed needs to play some kind of catch-up game with rate cuts, like the economy is weakening too much, that's not going to be a good thing. Stocks would not react favorably to that. Now, China's foreign ministry and their foreign minister Wang Yi in India says China is ready to continue communication with India on issues with a positive attitude. If you guys don't know this, India and China are not very friendly, okay? They on a regular basis have conflicts at the border, like literally physical altercations. Not a lot of people like getting shot, but they fight at the border. Like literally fight, big brawls at the border between militaries, okay? They just don't like each other and really never have. So this is an interesting headline. Like, I just want to show you guys this if you've never seen it, because it's kind of wild, okay? Literally, China and India military literally fighting at the border. Like, with sticks and rocks. Wild. China's foreign ministry says China supports all efforts for a peaceful settlement of the Ukraine crisis. China's foreign ministry on Trump's meeting with Zelensky says, we expect all stakeholders will participate in peace talks for a lasting agreement accepted by all parties. Goldman Sachs says S&P 500 companies beat forecast this earnings season, with Q2 EPS up 11% versus 4% expected. About 60% beat estimates by wide margins, one of the strongest seasons on record. Firms offset tariffs by cutting costs, reshaping supply chains, and passing prices to consumers. While a weaker dollar boosted sales, analysts warn smaller companies may face more risks from slowing sales growths. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not already joined the trading community, this is the portfolio return year to date, up 78.82%. There's a link down below in the description of this video to come join that. What we are doing over there is going out, finding small cap stocks in the AI field with underappreciated values, okay? We're looking at stocks that are trading at a fraction of the other high flyer names, okay? Most of these are much better companies than BBAI or SoundHound or Upstart or some of the other more well-known names. There is one stock in here that I now have over $100,000 invested in that reports earnings this week that, honestly, I'm shocked that it is as low as it is. So come check it out. Link down below in the description of this video if you have not done so already. U.S. Ambassador to NATO Whitaker says a security guarantee to Ukraine would be a form of an alliance. Vice President J.D. Vance will attend the Trump-Zelensky meeting. Trump says we are going to lead a movement to get rid of mail-in ballots, which is probably long overdue at this point. Trump says U.S. states must do what federal government tells them. And the UK's Prime Minister's spokesman says Ukraine welcomes U.S. statement on Ukraine's security guarantee. UK's Prime Minister says the UK is ready to deploy a reinsurance force in Ukraine. Here's another interesting take on Jackson Hole. Jackson Hole is going to take place on Friday with a speech from Fed Jerome Powell. It says markets expect a 25 basis point rate cut in September, but analysts say Powell may avoid signaling easing in his Jackson Hole speech on Friday. Despite weak jobs data and political pressure, concerns over stagflation and rising inflation could give him reason to hold back, according to HSBC and Bank of America. This is one of those weird things, okay? Friday, we're going to hear from Powell. Is he going to pivot? Is he going to be more bullish? Is he going to signal he's ready to cut rates? We don't know. That's the question at this point, okay? That is what a lot of people are hoping for, but we don't necessarily need at this point because we have so many Fed governors that are already team rate cut. Like, doesn't matter? Probably not. And honestly, I think earnings are the big catalyst for this week. Starting off today in after hours, you have Palo Alto, Blink, some others. Tuesday pre-market, Home Depot, Xpeng, Medtronic. Tuesday in after hours, Toll Brothers, Lazy Boy. Wednesday pre-market, Target, Estee Lauder, Zim, TJX, Analog Devices, Baidu, Futu. Wednesday in after hours, Nordson, Kadi. Thursday pre-market, this is your big one, Walmart, okay? Walmart, again, if you guys don't know, back in 2007, like back mid-year 2007, over a year before you had the great financial crisis, Walmart came out and started warning of a weakening consumer, of things going bad. And people paid attention at the time, at least a little bit. Like, stocks sold off on that earnings from Walmart, like Walmart stock sold off, but they didn't put the correlation together between, oh crap, if Walmart has bad things to say and they're the largest retailer in the world, that's probably not a great sign for the economy. In fact, I would even say today, it's much more relevant because of how bad the government data statistics are. They're not good, okay? So if Walmart has good things to say, well, that's great. That's a good sign. If Walmart has bad things to say, that's a really bad sign, and that is a major red flag. Now, Thursday and after hours, you have Zoom, Workday, Intuit, and Ross that will report earnings. And then Friday pre-market, you have BJ's. Trump on Truth Social says he will sign an executive order to help bring honesty to the 2026 midterm elections. And U.S. birth rates hit an all-time low, CDC data has shown. This is one of the reasons I'm so bullish on AI and specifically humanoids. Like, there's no other way around it. With birth rates as low as they are globally, you're going to need robots, okay? There is literally no other way around that. 20, 30 years from now, the economy in the world would look a lot different if we did not have humanoids. You're going to need them to fill a lot of the positions. People just aren't going to want to work in the future. I mean, even, taking care of people as they get older is going to be huge. Just a huge market in general for humanoids. It's one reason why I'm all in on AI right now. AI is the biggest wave of technologies that's just going to continue for decades. Now, Morgan Stanley says AI could add $920 billion in annual gains to the S&P 500. Morgan Stanley estimates AI could deliver $920 billion in yearly net benefits to the S&P 500 firms, with long-term value creation of $13 to $16 trillion, about 25% of the market cap. Gains would come from the cost cuts and productivity, with the biggest boost in retail, real estate, transport, and healthcare. Tech, hardware, and semis would see smaller effects. While full adoption will take years, Morgan Stanley calls the AI investment outlook fundamentally bullish. And what's important to note is when new technologies come online, people tend to underestimate what they will do long term. So if Morgan Stanley says $13 to $16 trillion in value creation, that's double that. That's probably what you're looking at. 26 to 36 trillion in value creation. Like, they're probably, even these estimates sound high, but they're probably way too low in reality. Now, India's Prime Minister Modi says he had a phone call with Russia's Putin. And Modi says that Putin shared insights on his meeting with Trump. Redfin reports that homes are selling at the slowest summer pace in a decade. Trump says they're having a big day at the White House. Let's see what the results will be, in reference to the meeting between Zelensky and other European heads of state. Trump says we've never had so many European leaders here at once. And Zelensky is meeting with U.S. Special Envoy to Ukraine Kellogg in Washington. Trump says, I am totally convinced that if Russia raised their hands and said, we give up, we concede, we surrender, we will give Ukraine and the great United States of America, the most revered, respected, and powerful of all countries ever, Moscow and St. Petersburg, and everything surrounding them for 1,000 miles. The fake news media and their Democrat partners would say that this is a bad and humiliating day for Donald J. Trump, one of the worst days in the history of our country, but that's why they are the fake news and the badly failing radical left Democrats. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Honestly, I don't really know what that means. I honestly, I have no idea what that means. No clue. Zelensky, after meeting with Kellogg, says Ukraine is ready to work productively for peace. The UK weighs replacing a stamp duty with a new property tax. I'm not sure why that came in as breaking news on US newswires, but there you have it. And the US has made China-related changes to the sanctions list. Trump on Russia and Ukraine says he knows exactly what he's doing. Trump on Ukraine says he's only here to stop it, not prosecute further. So again, that's good in terms of retaliatory tariffs. It sounds like that's not even being thought of at this point. Trump says, I've settled 6 wars in 6 months, one of them a possible nuclear disaster, and yet I have to read and listen to the Wall Street Journal and many others who truly don't have a clue. Tell me everything that I am doing wrong on the Russia-Ukraine mess. That is sleepy Joe Biden's war, not mine. I'm only here to stop it, not prosecute it any further. It would have never happened if I was president. I know exactly what I'm doing. I don't need the advice of people who have been working on all of these conflicts for years and were never able to do a thing to stop them. They are stupid people with no common sense, intelligence, or understanding, and they only make the current Russia-Ukraine disaster more difficult to fix. Despite all of my lightweight and very jealous critics, I'll get it done. I always do. So, I mean, that sounds good. Zelensky says it would be impossible to give up territory to Russia. The White House has requested that Vladimir Zelensky wear a suit and tie during his Oval Office meeting with Donald Trump, according to reports. Hamas has accepted the latest Gaza ceasefire and hostage deal proposal. Trump says if everything goes well, we will have a trilateral meeting and can maybe end the war. Trump says we'll have a lasting peace. Trump says the war's going to end when it's going to end. I can't tell you. And Trump on security guarantees says we'll be involved. And on those security guarantees says we'll let you know later today. And even Zelensky says today that we need to stop the war. And Trump says he would not say it's the end of the road. Zelensky says thank you, Trump, for your efforts. And Trump on a message to Ukraine says, quote unquote, we love them. The CNN Fear and Greed Index is creeping up a little bit today, now at 65. Previous close was at 64. Market momentum is greed, stock price strength is greed, stock price breadth is neutral. Put and call options, extreme greed, market volatility is neutral, safe haven demand is greed, and junk bond demand currently in greed. The most recent AI investor sentiment survey, as we've talked about before, shows bullish investors at 29.9%, neutral investors at 24.0%, and bearish investors at 46.2%. So people have gotten quite bearish in the last, couple of weeks. And that to me just sounds like further reason to see some upside. Now, the percent of stocks trading above their 50-day moving average at 57.19%. So still not this super euphoric market as a lot of people would say. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts on all of this information down below in the comment section. The S&P has now since turned green. The Russell is also up 0.5%, and Tesla up 1.4%. And that big stock that I have an investment in the trading community, up over 10% today, heading into earnings on Thursday. Check that out, link down below in the description of this video. If you would like to come join the trading community, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.